welcome to the Science Faction Podcast, where science meets fact meets fiction.
This is Science Faction for the week of December 15th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Dominguez, and with me today, two individuals who are so excited to be here.
Hey, I'm Benjamin Daniel Lawless. You can hear it in my voice.
I'm Devin Kraft.
Wow, Devin, you actually do sound a little chipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, look, I'm kind of like on top of things right now. Like I have more billing done at this time than I normally do. So I don't feel like I'm going to have to, like if we record in the middle of the day and I'm behind on billing, then it's like, okay, when this is over, I'm going to have only a few hours left. Like I'll have, and have to bill this many hours. And anyway, have happened to have billed a lot of hours today because I kind of started work early. So not as stressed out.
Right on, man.
Excellent.
You, Ben? Why aren't you sounding more chipper?
Oh, we have found out at my job that we're that we need to hire, and even it seems like daily. It's like and we need to hire more and more and more. So like the next week and a half or so is going to be like on top of all my normal work. I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews, which is great, but also like it's like, oh, that wasn't what I was expecting to be spending the next 2 weeks doing, and preparing for the holiday season. So yeah, like I have the exact opposite of Devin's. Like, oh no, the deluge is coming. But no, it's all good, man.
The holidays are coming fast and hard this year. I just spent the last couple of hours doing some holiday shopping of things that we were supposed to get done this weekend that we didn't because other things happened.
Tell me about this, Stephen. I want to hear.
Okay. Yeah. So we got lice.
Oh man.
Yeah. We got all liced up. My youngest had been scratching her head for about a week, maybe two, on and off. And, I kept an eye on it. I was like, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right. And when the weather changes around here, it gets a little drier, right? Skin gets a little dry and cold. I was like, maybe she just has a dry scalp or something. And talked with her and found out she wasn't quite shampooing her hair like how she should be. She's 7, she's still figuring things out. And, I looked in her hair a few times kind of thinking like, they've never had lice before. I've never had lice before. But it's like, it's stuff that lives in the hair, right? Went peeking around in her hair, didn't see anything. It's like, all right. And then on earlier, what day was it? Saturday? I want to say it was Saturday. Saturday, Martine left early to go do some Christmas shopping in the morning. The girls were going to have a play date with a friend in the afternoon, and I was going to go off and run a Mutant Crawl Classics game. And as she's out shopping, Martine feels something on her head and reaches in and pulls out an adult louse, a lice. And she was like, oh no. And immediately, called me. I looked in the girl's hair. I didn't see anything, but we knew that our youngest had been scratching. It's like, okay, something's going on. She went and got like a lice kit at the local drugstore. Texted her one of her coworkers who also has kids that they just went through the lice thing, and it was great because she was like, "Oh, immediately contact the lice lady." And we were like, what? There's somebody here on the Central Coast known as the lice lady who is a professional at dealing with lice. Like, don't know why, but like that's her bag. And so Martine called her up and was like, hey, we think, we have an issue. She was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I actually have time today. Come down as soon as you can. And they did. And she spent, Martine said, I didn't go because I was doing other things. And we didn't know how serious it was. We started like doing laundry and stuff immediately, like stripping beds. And we just knew like the basics, but we've never been through this before. So we didn't know to what extent we needed to be concerned or worried or what the deal was. This lady spent about 45 minutes on each one of their heads literally with a fine-tooth comb, finding everything. And it was not that bad, like at all. Like we caught it. You guys caught it just in time. It was about to go full-blown crazy in like another week or so if we hadn't done anything. So,
wow.
Yeah, there was only on my youngest daughter, I believe it was, so there's nits, which is like the eggs called nits. Then there's juveniles, and then there's the adults. The adults will bite you and suck your blood and lay a bunch of eggs. The adolescents are looking to mate and lay eggs and then grow up to be adults and bite you and eat you. And there's eggs everywhere. So, and this is all secondhand because this lady told everything to Martine and she told it all to me. But essentially, she went through all their hair, was like, hey, you guys are clean now. Anything that your head has touched and you're home, wash it. We're like, okay. So all of Saturday, late afternoon, night, and all day Sunday was just laundry. That's all we were doing. Laundry and not touching anything. And then later that day, Martine, after learning all this stuff from this lady, she got one of those combs, went through my hair, didn't find anything, and I haven't had, any issues. But here's the thing that's messed up about lice that we didn't know. You can't feel them. They are so small. Like, it's not like fleas or like other bugs or whatever where you like can feel them walking around and stuff. Like, when you've got an ant on you, right? You get that little tickly feeling and you're like, oh, something's on me. Lice are so small that you can't even feel them. So Martine was sitting there as the kids were getting their hair checked. She's like, oh, I just feel like they're crawling all over me. And the lady was like, that's definitely in your head because you can't feel them. It's impossible. So anyways, an upside is that they are not burrowers. So if they fall off your head, wherever they land, they just kind of chill there and like wait for another warm body. Or after a couple of days, they die. So as long as you've got a clean head and you wash everything, you're good. So that's what we did. And that was all weekend. So like this weekend was going to be our big Christmas shopping like push to like finish things up, right? And then none of that got done. So now this week, like today, this morning, I just went to like 4 places and grabbed a bunch of stuff that, we've got our list. We know what we need to get. It was just a matter of getting out there and doing it. So that was my weekend. And this lice lady, shout out to her. She apparently has 2 businesses. One of them is this lice thing. I don't know what the other one is, but this time of year, she shuts down her other business to only deal with lice. She's like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, because she said, people coming home from dorms will often have it. And so like this is like holiday break, right? Everyone's coming back home, and that's when like you'll notice, oh, it's happening. And she stays busy like through the holiday season and then stops doing it and then goes back and does whatever her other job is. And it was not cheap. There were 3 digits involved, and they were not low ones. But we know for sure now that and all the kids had eggs both kids had eggs in their hair. My youngest, I think, had some juveniles, but my oldest didn't. And Martine had eggs and I think a juvenile or 2, something like that. So like we caught it before it was going to be a huge issue. Yeah. So happy weekend. That's what I did.
Fun.
Man,
Fun.
Fun.
Yes. Had you, because I've grown up, I had lice growing up and it was not great.
Mhm.
But yeah, how about y'all?
No, it never happened.
I've never had lice. No,
Oh,
not that I can recall.
They did say that it's harder for people with shorter hair for them to. There's like less hair for them to hold on to. So oftentimes, it's not as bad with people with shorter hair. And also it has to do with how naturally oily your hair is. I have naturally oily hair. And so the eggs, if I did have something in there, they wouldn't like stick properly and come out with like a typical wash. And I do like, I take a shower every day. So if I did have something, I probably was able to wash it out easily. Plus the kids, I'm pretty sure my youngest like got it from school or something. And she's a big cuddler and will like rub her head and face on other people. So it doesn't surprise me at all that if she was the carrier, gave it to my wife, gave it to my other kid. She doesn't cuddle with me as much with my head, so that makes sense as well. Yeah, it's just one of those things, I guess. I don't know. What a great episode this is, you guys.
It's just one of those things.
Lawyers, billing, lice infestations.
Yeah.
Oh, here was the big tip. You don't have to wash everything. The heat in the dryer will kill them.
Oh.
So like pillows and stuff, you don't have to wash them and dry them. Stick them in high heat in your dryer for 40 minutes, and that will kill them. The heat will kill them. So there's a tip for you if you have a worry of Christmas lice. Wash your stuff, you dirty person. Anyways, hey Ben, tell us about Sectori, and let's get this thing back on track.
Sure. Hey, I know that we're at the end of the year, and everybody's thinking about their games of the year. And I'd like to highlight a little game called Sectori. Sektori. It is a it looks like Geometry Wars, y'all. That's, but it's like the best Geometry Wars like game I've ever played. The way I immediately I said, hey, I'm in, is when I heard someone describe it as, imagine the best Dreamcast game you've never played got a remaster. And that's so it's intense, it's fast paced, it's a twin stick shooter, it's got a bunch of techno music, and immediately, like when playing it, I go into a flow state, and it has a lot of stuff that kind of make it better to me than Geometry Wars. It has a sense of progression, so it's kind of a roguelike a bit, and so as you collect certain tokens, you can upgrade your stats in certain ways depending on how many you get. So like it starts off with, if you collect one token, then you can upgrade your speed. But if you collect 2 tokens, then now like you can't upgrade your speed right now, you have to upgrade your score. And then the 3rd token, it's now, okay, well, hey, those 2 you can't get right now, but you could upgrade I think strike, which is like a you pull the trigger and you go in one direction and you cause a bunch of destruction, which is really, really nice. And so yeah, it's got a bunch of different options, and it's a game that has a lot of legs. I've had it for about a week, and I don't play as much as I talk about video games. I don't play for very long. I've put in almost 10 hours into it this last week.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like catnip for Ben.
Bennnip.
It's Bennnip. Yeah. So good times. But unfortunately, it doesn't yet have a Switch or Switch 2 version. It is on Steam, it's on PlayStation, and it's on Xbox Series as well.
Right on.
Why would I be concerned about a Switch 2 version? Well, because of Devin. I always want to
Yeah.
recommend
If
games
it's on
to
Switch
Devin.
2, then I'll be able to play it. Otherwise, probably not.
Man, too bad the device you're currently talking to us on couldn't possibly play video games.
There's no way. It's impossible.
No. Well, I am talking to you through my work computer, so that actually is true. But I am sitting next to my gaming computer, which does have that capability. So,
Well, speaking of computer games, let me jump in real quick because I recently have been playing a bunch of Arc Raiders, which has been a ton of fun. And now that I've got several hours into it, I feel like I can talk about it a little bit. Arc Raiders is a loot 'em up, if you will. So got a third person camera. You're running around these areas trying to find loot, and there's like a countdown timer, and there are a bunch of different exits around the map. And as the countdown timer goes down, those exits become unavailable. And there are robot enemies. That's the deal here. It's some kind of future after a war where the humans lost and all the robots are on the surface. There's like one city that you live underground in, and then they send out these raiders. You're one of these raiders. They send you out to the surface to grab stuff and bring it back. Now, the hook here is that you can either team up with or fight with other players. And if they kill you, they loot you. You lose everything. So it's got that rogue.
That's not very nice.
It's not very nice. And in fact, there are a lot of really nice people playing. And you can, so like if you get a cool gun and you put like attachments on it and you collect ammo for it and it's a really awesome gun and you run out into the world and like, yeah, I'm going to kill some robots, and then someone takes you out. Sorry, all that progress is now lost. So it makes people be very cautious. And you don't want to just get in a random gunfight, because if you could put in hours and hours into your gear, and your gear will degrade. So you have to like keep it repaired and stuff. So it's kind of this gameplay loop of go out, loot some stuff, find the closest exit and get out like fast. I have yet to play teamed up with people. You can go in like a groups of 3, I believe, and you can attempt to take down like the bigger robots. And these things are deadly, and they're typically up in the air. So it's like this weird thing where like most games, you have stuff on the ground coming at you, but rarely stuff is floating above you. There's lots of audio cues, like when because they're all like drones and stuff. It's wild, and those are called arcs. And I don't know what that stands for, or if that's in the lore or what. There's a lot of like, they're just kind of zooming around. There's different kinds. They do different things. They drop different loot, and you need stuff from them to upgrade your own stuff and to move forward. And there's a whole like crafting system with the weapons and like, not really armor. The armor is more cosmetic. There is no armor. It's cosmetic. You have a shield. It's like this shield device that you have, and you can upgrade those and stuff. So you have your shields, you have your weapons, and then you have your inventory slots. So there are different loadouts you can do. You can load out to be more combat heavy. You can load out to be more like looting, and that's all like up to you and how you want to play. The game is cool. It's been a ton of fun, and it reminds me something about it reminded me of you, Ben, because you like to play games in short bursts. You're like, yes. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna play this game for 20 minutes. All right, now I got to go to one of my other 15 jobs, right? And so, in Arc Raiders, when you load up a match, when you go out to from your home base out to one of the maps, and there's like 5 or 6 different maps, something like that. the longest that you can be there before the last elevator shuts down, because there are elevators that lower you back down. I want to say is 28 or minutes or something. It's like some odd number. It's always, I think you know what it is. They stay active for 30 minutes, but as soon as one person loads in, the timer starts. So you get in and you have like 28 minutes or 29 minutes, or sometimes you load in, you have 10 minutes, and like half of them are already closed down because you're just, that instance of the map has just been counting down this whole time. So it is almost impossible, unless you are like set up with buddies to like keep going out, to play for more than about 20 minutes. And the longer you play, the more dangerous it gets as well. It's like more and more robots start showing up. The elevators start shutting down. The only people surviving that long are the people with a lot of good gear, and they can take you out if they wish. So it's a lot of fun, and I believe it's only like $40. So it doesn't have a huge barrier to entry. It runs on my PC fantastic. I have a decent rig, but like Devin, we were playing the bug game, Helldivers 2. We were playing a lot of Helldivers 2. It's got that same like level of graphic fidelity, maybe a little bit better, but it's about that range, which is pretty good. You know, it looks decent. You got these big maps, you got stuff to do. So I recommend it.
Now this game's gotten a lot of negative press because of the use of AI for NPC dialogue. Has that been something that's like bothered you throughout your playtime of it, or even noticeable?
What NPCs? So like back at your base, there are like a series. I think there's like 5 different vendors, and they like say stuff to you, and they'll give you quests. I had no idea that they were they AI voiced instead of voice actor voiced.
I feel like there's been a controversy there. That's just how I know about Arc Raiders.
Okay.
I
haven't heard about any of that, and it was not anything I noticed. And I typically ignore what they say. So,
okay.
I imagine because like. You needed to you have to interact with these vendors to like sell stuff or buy stuff, that kind of thing, and they say, oh, go on this quest, go to this place and look for this thing, and you know, it's really simple stuff. There's no big like cutscenes or like interactions. There's no like story really, besides like what you get when the game first boots up. You get like a minute long like, this is you wandering the wasteland with like a narrator like saying some stuff, and then that takes you into like the demo level, and then after you're done with the little demo level, then you go down to the city, and then the game starts proper. So there's not big like cinematic events or anything. There's just vendors saying stuff at you, which if that's true and it's AI and they're, you know, okay, so they saved money to not hire real voice actors, but they're not really like acting. It's just like, hey, I see that you're back. Want to buy some stuff? Like, you know,
it seems that it's specifically about a text-to-speech AI being used that was trained on recordings of real voice actors who were paid and gave their consent to have their voices used this way.
Okay,
but still, a game in which you are at war with a robotic force, yet also had a robotic force used to make the game. Like, it seems a little ironic, don't you think?
This sounds like a non-issue, and I'm going to stop thinking about it.
All right, very good, very good. This is what immediately upon hearing about Arc Raiders, you sent me the trailer for it. I was like, oh, that's interesting, cool. Mm-hmm. And then like the first thing I heard about it afterwards was like AI controversy, and I was like, okay, let me come back to this after this is all kind of shaken out. And so I
controversy, I wouldn't say controversy if the actors were like, yeah, you're paying me to use my voice and to train your AI, and that's agreed upon, then what's the controversy? If they stole it, right? If they just went on to Chat GPT and was like, hey, make a voice for me, like, okay, I get that. But but
I
they just
think
did
that,
things
Sometimes
a
you
different
know,
it
way.
hurts how much they're paid. Like if they were paid the same amount they would have been paid if they had spent the time to read all the lines, or if they were paid like, look, it's going to take half the time or even less than that to train the AI, and we'll pay you for that time, which is still, like you said, Stephen, you're getting paid for your time, whatever it is. If you don't want to do it, we'll find an actor who will
Yeah.
do it for what we're willing to pay in the amount of time. It's just kind of a race to the bottom at that point of what's the littlest we have to pay for to get the most output, and that kind of hurts
right.
actors. But that's
Yeah.
the story of AI for every industry, really.
Yeah, this is one of those growing pain things. At least like they're not using this AI voice in like grand, 20-minute cinematics that like if you look at something like Death Stranding that has like actors in it and like these big cut scenes with all this storytelling, that's not what this game is. This game is like,
Yeah.
hey, go to this place and look for boxes with strange symbols on them and then let me know. Like it's just that kind of stuff, which in a game like this, which has their like right away, like this is pretty new. This game's only a couple months old, I think. And there was like another map that we as the community just worked towards to unlock. And if that's how this game is going to progress, if that's what the roadmap for this game is like, oh, we're just going to keep unlocking these little things and we just need like little clips of dialogue here and there. And we're going to, seeing how our community interacts with the game, then we can adjust the game accordingly. Like using this AI thing is better for this small studio than having to hire voice actors, record everything, and then put it in the game. Right? Like it's like a logistical issue. That's not what this game is. This game, if this game had been released like 10 years ago with the same stuff in it, you just wouldn't get dialogue and there would just be text instead because they're like, oh, well, we can't hire voice actors for this. So just read the text and that's all we got for you. Or like a canned response of like, hey, Arc Raider, we've got some news for you. And then like the text pops up. Like that's what it would be and the game would still be just as good.
Right.
So, yeah, a non-troversy, is that a word?
I guess it is now. But no, I mean, I think that like increasingly I'm kind of coming across things where like I see something online and I'm like, well, or I hear something. I hear the digital voices that are trying to sound real, but they don't. They get some pretty basic things wrong, and like it brings you out of it. I came across like at work, somebody was like, hey, take a look at this 2.5 minute long AI generated video and stay to the end, stay after the credits. And I was like, I got 30 seconds through. I'm like, I can't keep watching this. Like, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So like there's a quality to it that goes outside of the ethical portion of it. So yeah, I'm not necessarily saying, hey, there's a problem with the use of AI or there isn't a problem with the use of AI. I was just kind of curious because I just heard a lot of AI stuff regarding this game and thank you for letting me know.
Well, there it
as
is.
someone who's played it.
Fantastic.
There it is.
All right. Should we move right along or does Devin need video game recommendations?
We talked about
Devin.
it before for a while. I'm sure we'll have time to talk
Oh,
about
that's
it
right.
again.
Yeah, that was in pre. If you're a patron, then
I,
you've already heard that talk.
Yeah, and I'm already preparing a spreadsheet that I'm texting you guys both here of my
Oh, good.
of my Switch video game recommendations. So
Cool.
Oh, speaking of that, let's see. Christina's husband is interested in a Switch. He at the Mutant Crawl Classics game that I ran, there was some chat about it, and one of the other guys is gonna let him like borrow his Switch, but he was asking a lot of the same questions Devin was asking about, like, how does it work? What game good? How make Switch fun for me? So yeah, there was a lot of like Zelda talk and stuff. which are like,
Okay.
classic Switch games, if that's the kind of stuff you're into.
I would be curious why he's interested in a Switch and not a Steam Deck. Would be kind of a question I pose to a lot of people that are thinking about that.
Probably just knowing that it exists.
Oh.
Like we all know what a Nintendo is, but not everyone knows what a Steam Deck is.
Yeah. Well, hey, Greg, the standing desk converter I've offered you is still available, but not for very long. So, jump on it.
Come on,
my
Greg.
friend.
Hop in the Discord. Give us and take the chicken out. Put it in the crock pot, Greg.
Or just text me back, man.
Or just just text him back. We're calling you out live. Let's go.
Yeah. Right.
The Mutant Crawl Classics game was a lot of fun too. I was running a pre-written adventure called When Manimals Attack, and they were investigating an old zoo. And I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but what was funny is that the first section they went into, when they like broke into this old zoo, it was like a big dome, right? And there was reasons for them to break in there. So they find a way in. They come across some inhabitants. They're all manimals, which is like part animal, part man, mutant things. And what was pre-written in the adventure was like, oh, you talk to them, they give you a lore dump on what's going on, and then you move forward. Well, the group decided to lie to them and made them very scared, and so they didn't get a lore dump. And so for the rest of the session, they were doing stuff and moving in the right direction, but had like no context for what was going on. As a judge, which is what the GMs or the DM is called for a Mutant Crawl Classics game, as a judge, it was I had to do some juggling in the background to try and make things make sense. But it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun as well. And man, they tore through the whole adventure. Anytime any enemies came up, they just blasted the heck out of them. One dude, this is cool. This is what I'll end on. One of the characters is a plantient, which is it's a sentient plant, a plantient. And they've leveled up and mutated a bit and have gravitational-lensing powers. And so twice in this session, this giant tree beard man reached out his hand and just singularity crushed the enemies into like little balls of nothing, which was narratively great. There was they came across this psychic woman who was going to just destroy him, and he rolled really well and crushed her entire body into a softball-sized lump. I was like, well, she's dead now. No talking with her. And then did it again later with a robot, and it with the same effect. Those rolls were great fun. It was a good time. It was a good time we had. All right, let's move on. We're already half an hour in. Let's get to some future or no future
cough,
for me.
Cough, cough,
Jeez.
cough, cough,
Cough, cough, cough. Future or now?
Now.
Ben, tell me about your bones.
Okay, so this is from a Science Daily article. Tea may strengthen bones in older women, while heavy coffee weakens them.
Uh-oh.
Now, this is something that kind of like overarching. I kind of want to bring up as a potential idea regarding how we cover stuff, especially when we're talking about AI. One AI website I really like to use is Google's Notebook LM. And the idea behind Notebook LM is it's mostly meant for creating study guides for stuff that you upload to it. So it's only trained on the stuff that you give it. So I had this idea. I was like, what if I were to take a Science Daily summary, add that to my to a notebook, as well as the original paper, and ask it, like, hey, are there any conclusions mentioned in the article that might not be supported in the original PDF?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And so I thought this was kind of interesting, kind of that idea of like, well, hey, oftentimes we ask further questions about the article we have, but like the complete, we haven't read the entire original, but perhaps we could ask that question of AI, in the future. I don't know. And so I'm kind of letting you all know that this is something I'm playing around with a little bit. And the answer is, are there any conclusions mentioned in the Science Daily article that might not be supported in the PDF? The AI found that the major findings are consistent, but the original research paper includes crucial cautions and limitations regarding certain conclusions that are omitted or softened in the Science Daily summary.
Okay.
So anyhow, the basic gist of the article is, as women have been getting older, there was a study that was regarding. Here, hold on, I've got to pull up the thing. There's a 10-year study that monitored nearly 10,000 women aged 65 and older for 10 years to determine whether regularly drinking coffee or tea was connected to changes in bone mineral density. BMD is a central marker used to assess osteoporosis risk. And so heavy coffee intake was linked to lower bone density, but especially in women who consumed more alcohol. And we're talking like 5 or more drinks a day.
Oh my gosh, a day.
Yeah.
Old ladies party sometimes.
So, yes. Or all the time.
Or
I don't know. I might have that amount. That's from my remembering of what it was they were talking about. I'm not necessarily finding that, but it did seem to be linked to higher intake of alcohol. Also tea showed stronger benefits in women with obesity. So
what kind of benefits?
So stronger benefits in terms of better bone mineral density.
Oh, okay. I see. Got it.
Yeah. Coffee consumption was negatively associated with femoral neck BMD in women with higher alcohol intake, and tea consumption appeared particularly beneficial for those with obesity.
Wow.
So, Now, the original paper's discussion section immediately provides a crucial warning that is absent from the news summary. These subgroup findings should be interpreted with caution as they are likely underpowered and may be susceptible to type 1 error. They are primarily hypothesis generating and warrant validation in future larger studies. So, the basic idea here is, I know that we love talking about the benefits of tea and coffee and all this sort of stuff on the show. And I was like, oh, hey, a coffee article. Let me see about this. And the answer is, this does not necessarily say, hey, stop drinking coffee. But it does seem to say that, like, there is, especially if you're kind of going through a lot of other health related stuff and consumption related stuff throughout your life. It's non-significant in terms of statistically whether or not tea is going to be better for you later on in life than coffee.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting to know and to remember is that just because a study was done doesn't mean that something concrete came out of it. Right. Like a lot of times a study is for like information finding. Like, okay, we think maybe this, let's study it and find out some more information. This seems like, hey, they studied it, found out some more information, but not enough to be like, and now this is true. It's like, no, we found these things to sometimes be true. And that doesn't necessarily mean there's some drastic conclusion to be brought about because of it.
Right. And so, I mean, like there is some research that does suggest that caffeine content can interfere with calcium absorption and bone metabolism. You can offset those effects by adding milk. So, you know, right. But like really, older women, it's important to get enough calcium and vitamin D in order to maintain your bone health. I imagine that's true for everybody, like as we get older. But yeah, so
Good to know.
well, and this as it develops.
Yeah, good deal. All right, Devin, why are we even thinking at all? Tell us the answer.
So I'm using an article from Science Daily. It says why consciousness exists at all. And this is mostly, or it is, about birds, really, and how birds show some of the same traits of consciousness and how they develop that consciousness with a brain that has different anatomy from humans, which shows that consciousness possibly could evolve in different ways at different times. So they break down the three main distinct forms of consciousness. And this is from the researchers Albert Nguyen and Carlos Montemayor. They say there is three roles to consciousness: one, basic arousal; two, general alertness; and three, a reflexive self-consciousness. So they say that evolutionarily, basic arousal developed first with the base function of putting the body in a state of alarm in life-threatening situations so that the organism can stay alive. Pain is a good example of this. It often triggers a survival response such as fleeing or freezing. So then they talk about how attention and learning evolved. That's the second type. It makes it possible to learn about new correlations. First, the simple causal correlation, such as like seeing smoke and then understanding that means there's fire. But also target alertness also lets us identify complex scientific correlations. And then the last one is self-awareness and social life. Humans and some other animals go a step further by developing reflexive self. The way they write it, it's like parentheses self dash in parentheses consciousness. Whatever that. In its more advanced form, this ability allows individuals to think about themselves, remember the past, and anticipate the future. Also lets us build mental images of oneself and use the image to guide decisions and plans. In its simple forms, this one developed parallel to the two basic forms of consciousness. In such cases, consciousness experience focuses not on perceiving the environment, but rather on the conscious registration of aspects of oneself. This includes body states, perception, sensation, thoughts, and actions.
What?
So then they apply this. What?
I don't know. Just a lot of words you're throwing at us. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that would kind of be like the highest form of consciousness, and able to reflect on oneself, to feel that you're a person existing in the world, have a mental model of what you look like, because you're not just perceiving the world, but you have an idea of what you are, even though without mirrors and things, you might not really have an idea of what you are as an individual. But when you develop this higher form of consciousness, you can kind of place yourself within that model. And then once you do that, you can make decisions and choices and see and think and hypothesize where that will put you in the future.
Okay.
So they go through this with birds. Birds do more than automatically react to stimuli. They appear to have subjective experiences. Like when pigeons are shown visually ambiguous images, they alternate between different interpretations, much like humans do. So for crows, it shows that certain nerve signals in their brains reflect what the animal perceives rather than the physical stimulus itself. When a crow sometimes consciously detects a stimulus and sometimes does not, specific nerve cells respond in line with that internal experience. So it's basically they can do more than just, what we kind of think of as probably the initial evolutionary strategy for consciousness is to bring in stimuli, be able to evaluate it, and react accordingly. And the more and more simple that is, the more and more it's just a particular stimulus would cause a very particular response without there being any evaluation of it, right?
Okay,
And then the
yeah.
more complicated our brains get, and the more complicated our consciousness gets, the more we have choices and can kind of take in more information and evaluate it. So I think what they're saying is that in crows, they can kind of see the difference of that happening in their brains. At some instances, they can detect stimulus, and we can see what that does in their brain when they have an automatic response. But then also other specific nerve cells respond in line with that internal experience. So there's another area of their brain lighting up to say not only are they taking in the stimulus and reacting to it, there's a part of their brain lighting up, meaning they're actually experiencing it. It's kind of how I interpret that.
Wow. That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other really interesting part, though, is that their brains differ from mammals' brains. The avian equivalent to the prefrontal cortex, the NCL, is immensely connected and allows the brain to integrate and flexibly process information. The connectum of the avian forebrain, which presents the entirety of the flows of information between the regions of the brain, shares many similarities with mammals. Birds thus meet many criteria for established theories of consciousness, such as the global neuronal workspace theory, which is, I believe, it's basically the more you connect things in the brain, the more chance there is for consciousness, or that might explain consciousness. So then they go into self-perception. So there's the mirror test, which I think we've talked about before. If an animal can see itself in a mirror and not realize it's seeing itself, and understand that when it does something, the animal reflected does something, and it can associate that thing is them. It's the test usually like they put like a dot, like you draw a dot on the animal, and the animal, rather than touching the reflection and being like, why is there a dot on that animal in the reflection? It touches itself to show that it understands that what it's seeing is on itself.
Oh, okay.
So they say that while some corvid species pass the classic mirror test, other studies use alternative approaches that better reflect birds' natural behaviors. These experiments reveal additional forms of self-consciousness in different species. And then, quote, experiments indicate that pigeons and chickens differentiate between their reflection in a mirror and a real fellow member of their species and act to these according to context. This is a signal of situational basic self-awareness. So overall, these findings suggest that consciousness did not emerge recently or exclusively in humans. It appears to be an ancient and widespread feature of evolution. Birds demonstrate that consciousness processing can occur without a cerebral cortex, and that very different brain structures can arrive at similar functional outcomes. So, I think it's overall more evidence that other animals, basically anything with a brain, or who knows how simplistic of a brain you can get, to the point where you might say that something has consciousness. But just more evidence that animals, at least, and maybe the further you go away from humans, there's still some form of consciousness, have consciousness and probably have some form of self-experience and qualia, and that's kind of like a big part of where we draw our ethical lines of, is something conscious or not? And of course, understanding consciousness, how much brain power does it require before consciousness arises? Well, it might not need a big brain. Birds have small brains. They might not need the exact type of anatomy that our brains have, because birds have different anatomy. It seems like the one trait they do share is the interconnectedness of all the different areas of the brain, at least connected through some, other part of the brain. So that might be what helps. But it's just more parts of that puzzle, figuring out what consciousness is.
Right on. Okay. How does this make you feel, Devin?
How does it make me feel?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very interesting. It doesn't really surprise me. Like I kind of have this opinion already that just about anything with the nervous system, even really basic things, I think to some extent have consciousness. So it kind of just reinforces kind of my picture of what consciousness probably is and how it exists.
Right on. I wonder if dinosaurs had consciousness.
I mean, to the extent we're talking about, like in this article, I would think so.
I mean, it would make sense.
I
They were
mean,
around for
we can't-
millions of years to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, and we know they had brains.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's just given what the central function of a brain is, to bring in the stimulus, evaluate it, and decide the correct course of action, no matter how rudimentary that is, seems to give rise to some sense of self that's making that decision. And of course, we may never know if that's true, because we can never experience, you know, anything other than our experiences. So
Right.
we can never really confirm it. But if we can ever figure out what consciousness really is, like some paradigm shift, some, you know, like how evolution was for biology, just to be like, this makes so much sense. This is what it is. This is the key. This is how we understand it, figure out, quantify it, and reproduce it. Like if we can do that, then that would be huge.
Then we can package it and we can sell it, and we.
Well, that's the key probably to general AI. I mean, we have to understand why we feel things, why we have qualia before we can try to figure out how to put that into a computer.
Yeah. Oof. All right. Awesome. Well, as we all ponder these strange things, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are doing our book club for the week, The Red Thread by Sophia Samatar. Of course, there are links in the show notes. So go read that. If you got a free 10 minutes, come on back and we're going to talk about it. So we'll be right back. Oh, wow. Another free listener. Incredible. Look, I love that you're here, but let's be real. You could be getting so much more. Bonus episodes, unfiltered takes, behind-the-scenes chaos. All you have to do is join our Patreon at patreon.com/sciencefactionpodcast. Or don't. But if you don't, just know that somewhere in a parallel universe, a better version of you already has. And we're back.
Heyo.
Oh, it's been hours. They don't even know. The listeners don't even know.
And a big thank you to our patrons, Renee and Josh. You know.
They know. Oh, they know.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us what we're reading for next week, Ben.
Next week, we're reading The Janitor in Space by Amber Sparks, which thank you for that title, because I cannot wait to read this. I think it's going to be great, just from the title.
Title sounds pretty cool. Not too long of a read either, probably 5 to 10 minutes. So a true short story.
This week, we're reading The Red Thread by Sophia Samatar. Now, I thought it was kind of interesting, like reading through the bio at the end. It turns out that her first novel, the epic fantasy A Stranger in Alondria, won the 2014 Crawford Award, the British Fantasy Award, and the World Fantasy Award, and was included in Time Magazine's list of the 100 best fantasy books of all time.
Wow.
That was her first epic fantasy book.
All downhill from there.
her first novel. So yeah, like it's kind of cool to be reading like a speculative short story by someone who has won some pretty prestigious awards.
And it looks like this was written in 2016, so a couple years later. She's writing this thing.
Right. She decided to muck about with all the little people and write this thing.
So this story is interesting because it is the format is a series of one-sided letters talking to somebody that we never meet about events that have already happened in a war-torn post-apocalyptic U.S. kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely U.S.
Definitely the U.S. Yes, because they do talk about South Dakota,
North Dakota.
Right. Big Dakota energy with this one. I don't know what that means.
I mean, am I the only one on this show who's been to the Dakotas?
I haven't been.
I have not been.
Wow. Okay. then you got to
That
listen to
gives
me.
you some
Like,
special insight into this story, so you should explain it.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Like, I think it's also of note, like a really cool thing to note here is that the issue of Lightspeed magazine that this is from is from an issue called, it was issue 73 from June 2016, which was the People of Color Destroy Science Fiction issue.
Whoa.
Which,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, kind of bring, like, that has some multiple meanings of it, but it was like a bunch of creators and editors of color for that issue. So it's that's pretty cool.
That's neat. Yeah.
Yeah. But the main character is Sarah, and who is kind of leaving messages on a telecommunications network for her ex-lover Fox.
Oh,
And
a lover. Okay.
oh, did you not pick that up?
I couldn't really tell.
They said they slept together.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, in the cave.
Towards the
Yeah.
end, it was made explicit.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I guess I skipped that part. All right.
I
All
listened
right,
to
all
it.
right.
How did you guys take it in? Read it?
I started reading it. I listened to the whole thing, and then I came back and read certain parts that I was like, I couldn't have gotten that. Like, I don't quite understand. So I went through it a couple times in both forms.
I read it from the website, but in 2 different sessions. I read like half of it one day and then like the other half another day, I think. And so maybe that's why I don't remember that last bit.
Yeah. But the basic idea is Sarah's going from safe haven in America to safe haven in America, actually all throughout the world, with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom has a terminal disease and has decided that she wants to die where she was born in North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
So she's they're together making their way. And Fox was originally part of the group that they were hanging out in, but had left for, like, just kind of suddenly. And Sarah kind of decided, you know what, I'm going to try to keep in touch with Fox, keeps on leaving messages, and doesn't really hear anything back from them. And yeah,
But
I guess that's
keeps,
kind of the
keeps
the
reaching out though. Yeah.
Right. And until the mom passes, and now she gets to decide what she wants to do with her life.
Yeah. So this was a very like mom-centric story. Like a lot of the main character's life revolved around her mother. Which, did you guys catch that she was in a wheelchair?
No, I didn't catch that.
It
Mom? Or...
Yeah, because it said a couple times like she was pushing her, and they talked about wheels. Like, it's not very explicit, but I'm pretty sure her mom was in a wheelchair. Anyways, and her mom was a teacher. There's something going on in the world with, was it like an infection or?
No, they ran out of fuel.
Ran out of fuel.
Yeah, it seems like there were a few things going on, because they did mention quarantine, or like quarantine zones and a plague at some point.
Yeah,
isolation places, and they're for sure.
There's a lot going on that's not explicitly said, but is like touched upon. Just
but the general idea is, it seems like there was I guess some kind of epidemic, as well as socioeconomic collapse of the United States, as well as a lack of fuel. And so all of these things, like in tandem, came together, and Sarah and her mother and Fox all belonged to what they called the movement, which kind of just started off by a bunch of people getting fed up, sitting in traffic, and decided, you know what, like, there's no use for us to continue here in these cars. And they just got up and started walking.
Like, imagine if LA, like, they just like got everyone just got out of their cars one day, like the traffic jam was so bad, got out of their cars, like, you know what, cars are evil. We're just gonna walk now, and that's it. Like that was the beginning of the movement.
Yeah, and they, and the movement also involved people like the structures in place opening up prisons. There are no more prisons, and theoretically, that's actually so. This story has a lot to commentate about immigration and about the demonization of immigrants, and how immigrants like belong here. Yeah, specifically in the United States. And so I thought like all of it was just so fascinating. Like it felt a little fallouty. It felt a little
I mean,
interesting.
It feels a little today-ish. Some of this stuff.
Yeah,
like one of the lines here. I believe it's when the mom's telling stories to the daughter. When she was a kid, she says you could barely go anywhere at all. Borders, checkpoints, prisons, the whole world carved up, everything owned by somebody. And that's kind of how we're feeling right now, you know. I mean, there are no blank spaces on Earth anymore, right? Like there's everywhere is owned by somebody, something. And we have borders where some places have checkpoints. We definitely have prisons. Like it's like they took, what could be bad and said like, well, what if all of that was just what everyday life was? And then things get worse. Because what do you do in that kind of world? Yeah. And they talk about working for terrorists. They could seize you for anything. Yeah. There are parts of the story that felt very real. Yeah. Anyways, so Fox is this other person, and Fox was one of Mom's students, and then that's the main character, Sarah. In my head, I just said Sarah because I was like, I'm not gonna try to pronounce this in my head, but that's probably what it is. Yeah, like it seemed like they were a little family unit, and then one day Fox takes off, and Mom's just got to keep traveling, and then like through the way that the story's being told, like there are gaps in time over her postings or whatever this is, like. Dear Fox, hey, it's Sarah. It's been 6 months since I tagged you. I see you never tagged me back, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on like that. And just kind of ends up using these letters almost like a journal of like what's happening. Until there's like several of them where it's just like, hey, it's me. Hey, it's me. And like that's all it says. And then at the very end, it's like, hey, it's me. I got your message. Meaning Fox finally responded, and that's where the story ends. Very interesting story. Kind of this slice of post-apocalyptic life is what this was. What did you guys think? I see that we're running out of time here. What did you guys think of this thing? Did you know?
What do you
think?
It
was good. I thought it was well written and a good story. It wasn't my particular interest when it comes to sci-fi, I kind of want a little bit more. I don't know if you guys have heard of, read, or saw that show they made out of it. Station 11 was a pretty popular book, probably 10 years now, but it also was like a post-apocalyptic world of people kind of just like traveling. In particular, in that book, it was like like an acting troupe.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, but it was also like it's not like they were trying to save the world. They weren't trying. It was like, this is life now. Like we live in this world and we just do whatever we can. So it kind of had that feel to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It was touching too. When the mom died, that was pretty heartbreaking. Like at least the way it was read was very well read in the podcast version.
Yeah. Indeed.
And also Sarah makes mention like once that she's pretty much an artist. Like she can't, she's not a soldier. She's not someone who's, a medical genius or anything. She does art. And that's part of what this red thread comes from. And that's woven, pardon the pun, throughout the story as well. Anyway, Ben, what about you? What'd you think about this thing?
Loved it. Loved it very much. I thought it was really good. Yeah, I mean, I think that like so while Sarah is an artist, Fox was just loved tech, like knew how to keep the mesh nets running, how to draw power tenderly from the world, and so thus these messages that are being left are on the mesh net that like he's keeping running and that she's able to access. So it's it's a really cool little portion of it.
The story, like sometimes I'll read a story like this and be like, I liked it, but the things they hinted at almost sound more interesting than the story that we're told. This one isn't quite that. Like if there were more stories, perhaps there are, in this world, I'd be interested in checking them out. But this also does feel like its own story that can stand on its own. And it doesn't make me go like, but what else? It's like, oh yeah, this is a good complete story, but the world's super interesting, and I wouldn't mind more of that.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we are at the end again. Once again, next week, The Janitor in Space by Amber Sparks. Links are in the show notes to check that out. And sorry if this feels a little rushed, but it is. Devin, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Nope, I do not.
Okay. Ben, any last words?
Yeah, I had a goal to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year. Only 30 pounds left to go.
Good night, everybody.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. Tweet to the host at SciFact Podcast. Email them at sciencefactionpodcast@gmail.com and visit sciencefactionpodcast.com for more episodes.